We're live now. We're live here on the Rebel Scum Podcast Network. It's Infinity Rewatch. I'm Andrew Fantasia, and I'm joined by the handsomest man in the world as my co-host.
Ryan J. Marvel is here. That's right. I'm excited.
Okay, this is a big one. This is a big one.
I feel like we should have started with the Marvel, intro with the whole thing.
Yeah. I feel like Disney snipers would have found us and killed us, but it might have been worth it.
It would have been worth it.
Wow, but this is exciting. This is our March episode of Infinity Rewatch, and if you remember, we teased it last month. We're doing something gargantuan for this to help stoke the fires of excitement for the MCU moving forward. Each of us has come up with our own Dream Phase 7.
Yes. Okay, but like at the same time, I will also preface this as like, how do I phrase this? This is like our Dream Phase 7, but at the same time, I feel like it also is like literally trying to be part of the MCU. You know what I mean? Like we're not just going reaching for the stars here. We've done the research. We want a good experience.
Exactly. I don't want to use the word realistic. We're not being realistic because that's kind of a weird word that I don't like in this context. But we are aiming at the same targets that the MCU is. We're not, like you said, going off the rails and doing our own thing. Though there were some things that at least I did, some rules I set for myself, and I'm not sure if you did the same. So basically, we have, in a nutshell, Ryan has come up with his slate for Phase 7. I have come up with my slate for Phase 7, and tonight we're going to alternate and show you those slates as if we were a couple of Kevin Feige's showing off our future to the world. I tried to find a baseball cap to wear to really channel my Kevin, but turns out I don't own one, so it is what it is. But we will, not only will we announce movies and show off fun logos and stuff like that, but we have like very short synopses of these movies. In some cases, we have post-credit scenes, I think. I don't know if you've done the same, Ryan. Did you add some post-credit scenes in there?
Yeah, a little bit. not to every single announcement, but I have put in the research and time to explain everything I want to explain.
Perfect. Oh, I love it. So in terms of ground rules, I didn't have too many. So I'll do mine. I'll do the rules that I kind of went with. And then whatever you had for yours, Ryan, you can share those. These are rules / assumptions that I made because both of our Phase 7s obviously are, we set them to take place after Avengers Secret Wars. We don't know how that movie's going to end. So I'm assuming some things about how that movie's going to end. The first thing I assumed to set the stage for my Phase 7 here is that Dr. Doom, at least the one that we see in these two upcoming movies, is dead. So yeah, Doom has been dealt with. He's not around anymore. My second assumption that I made is that a new King T'Challa has been plucked from the multiverse and has taken his place as King of Wakanda. So the throne of Wakanda has a T'Challa as Black Panther once again. And the last thing I did, it's not so much an assumption, it's just a rule that I wanted for myself because this is my ideal Phase 7. And it involves a little bit of profanity. So youngsters, cover your ears for a second. Ready? Fuck Disney Plus.
Wow.
There we go.
Okay.
It's all movies, baby. It's all theatrical on my slate. That was where my heart and soul was lying. So what about you, sir? What did you come up with for your rules to kind of set your stage?
It's actually kind of funny because I'm actually doing an Infinity rewatch as we speak. Like I am currently rewatching while on the side, I always like to have a little background noise when I work. So I have a movie playing on the side and, it's kind of nice to catch in. And there are so many little things I haven't picked up on before. Ooh. So my rules, if you will, for myself was I had to these movies have characters have teased it, said it. It's been in a way mentioned in the MCU. So it's almost like it exists already, but we need to take it further. So that's where I've picked up. I guess the rule for myself, the best way to phrase it is, I have looked for all the breadcrumbs, and these are the crumbs I've found and where they have led me.
Dude, that's brilliant. That nothing you're coming up with exists in a vacuum. You are plucking it right from the source. That's so cool.
yeah. It's gonna be I texted you when you first of all, when this is an exciting project, when Fantasia like puts all caps in his text message of like, woo, like we're doing this, like that level of excitement, this is gonna be good. So I texted you and I said, and it's true, I have gone back and tweaked it at least like 4 or 5, like almost 10 times, because I'm like, oh, I would have loved to have done that. But also between the time we assigned this to each other and now they dropped the Spider-Man trailer, which in my opinion changes everything.
Did that change stuff for you?
It did.
That's so cool.
Damn it. I was like, damn it, they did it. They did it already. And I was like, oh, like they did it in a way of like, that's the kind of storytelling I wanted to do in a way for a Spider-Man movie. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna lie. There's no Spider-Man movie in mind, because we're gonna get this one. It's gonna hit pretty hard. And just from the trailer alone, there's gonna be a lot in there. So I couldn't mess with the Spider-Man story right now. I couldn't mess with that formula.
Fair. That's fair. Okay. That's a great way to set up your Phase 7. I like this a lot. Before we get into it, I guess the last thing I'll say before we get started is I'll do a little shameless plug here. I'm hoping that, at least one of my ideas tonight catches the interest of people watching and listening. So if you like at least one of my ideas, unless I made catastrophically bad decisions, you'll probably like Gindependence, because it's a book full of my ideas, because I wrote it myself. And it's a fantasy adventure novel, and it's available on Amazon right now, and also on Kobo. So if you like Kobo rather than Kindle, you can get your ebook fix with Gindependence. I'll put a link in the description to this video. But yeah, check it out on Amazon right now, and get yourself into the Gindependent mood, my friend.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we should alternate this. I think that's the best bet. You do one, I do one, you do one, I do one. So
we're doing it that way. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Isabella's here. Don't spoil any of Ryan's ideas for me until they're on the screen.
She can't hear you. She doesn't know. She doesn't know what I've been working on in the background. I have set up and Am
I gonna get sister wives?
No.
How did she guess?
How did she guess? We have developed our own Phase 7 lineup for Marvel.
Oh, that's not as exciting.
It's exciting for us.
Okay.
One of the movies is literally called Shang-Chi and the Sister Wives. So
Shang-Chi and the Sister Wives, yes.
Podcasting, building a PowerPoint slide?
No. Well, no, we are building our own Marvel lineup of projects that we would like to do.
I love that. That's adorable.
Yeah, it's adorable, right? It's
That's
adorable.
really
adorable
sweet.
is what we were
I
going
love that you
for.
guys embrace each other's nerdiness,
Fantasia says adorable is what we were going for.
Yeah. Well, you hit it right on the nose.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
All right.
Let you get back to it.
And just like Marvel, we have cameos too in our show.
See, we know exactly what we're doing. We are the cameo kings. All right.
Exactly. All right. So you're doing one, I do one, back and forth. Okay.
Okay. So I can see. Yep, we do have women on this channel. That's right. So I can see. Ryan, I can't see your slate anymore. It has disappeared from the share screen stuff. So
okay, that's fine. We're okay with that.
Yeah,
we're just gonna continue. I'm just gonna quickly get it back up and running real fast. There
All
right.
There we go. So with that being said, how should we decide who goes first?
This is. I feel like you should go first because you're always like the lead host, and then I co-host it. So you should go first.
Well, here's a question: how many projects are in your slate?
Okay. One. I think I did 8.
Me too. Okay, so this is perfect. So there's no.
Wow, we were both on the same page for that one. All right. Okay. I guess I shall go first. Let me cue this up here.
Okay. All right, here we go. Phase 7.
Wow, look at that. Did you build that? Did you build that?
Did you rub my lamp? Did you bring me here?
Did you wake me up? You bring me here? I don't think so.
Okay, well, gang, I'm going to begin by setting the stage with something that is a long time coming. And it's a very simple something that is a long time coming. I propose it is high time that we begin Phase 7 with none other than our friend Shang-Chi.
Oh.
So I have here Shang-Chi and the Valley of the Dragon.
Is that's an Iron Fist logo in the background, you sneaky devil.
It is an Iron Fist logo. I actually don't have him in my synopsis, funny enough. I happened to find that logo in there. But very brief synopsis of this is Shang-Chi is searching for the origin of his mystical 10 rings because he still doesn't know what the hell those things are. So he sets off on a globe-trotting adventure, like a James Bond style adventure, to get the answers that he's looking for. Along the way, he meets some new allies, including a couple of the Eternals who might have some answers he's looking for. We're talking about Thena and Pip the Troll, and possibly even, what's his face there, Harry Styles. They can show up and help him on his quest. By globetrotting, he's going to hop across the pond to the UK. So I thought, what a perfect moment to get a cameo from our friend Captain Britain and meet him for the first time.
Wow.
However, Shang-Chi is also making enemies as well as friends, so he will be pitted against the likes of the assassin Ghostmaker, who is a big Shang-Chi villain. I'm sure you're familiar with that guy. And eventually, he discovers the ancient sleeping dragon Fin Fang Foom, from whom he learns a deadly secret about the cosmos. And that's my plot in a nutshell. And I have 2 quick post-credit scenes to tack on to the end of this movie. So for the first post-credit scene, Ghostmaker, who's been defeated by Shang-Chi, Ghostmaker is arrested and he's processed and he's brought into the Raft prison. And the guard says, put him in cell 15 next to Stearns. So the guards take Ghostmaster and they take him to cell 15. But then when they arrive, one of the guards has a worried look on his face, and he says to his superior, sure, are you sure Stearns is supposed to be in cell 15? And the answer comes back, yeah, positive. It's in the system. Why? Well, he's gone, sir. And we see that the leader's cell is completely empty.
Oh, dang.
Oh.
Ooh, I like it.
And then our second post-credit scene is just one that's more for fun. So we got Shang-Chi, we got Awkwafina, and we got the Eternals. They're playing a board game, like the Game of Life or something, and we just have some fun hilarity ensue because the Eternals are taking the game too seriously, and they're not understanding, how to have fun, and we just have some fun with that. So, Shang-Chi and the Valley of the Dragon is the first movie in my ideal Phase 7.
I love it. Okay, all right. That's a healthy and interesting start. I mean, of all the characters to lead into a phase, is Shang-Chi is a strong creative start because it's not. Shang-Chi has proven that he is not a grounded storytelling experience. I mean, he literally had a dragon in the last one. So I love it. I love the raft, the recall to the raft. So that's good. And I love that he meets different heroes along the way. Captain Britain, though, that's a wild shot in the dark.
I figure let's get him in there. We're going to see a bit of the world. And it's he seems like the kind of character you would want to introduce first somewhere else before you make him a mainstay. So.
All right. Well, all right. So now we're going to move into mine.
Yeah, I'm going to add your slate to the stage. So your slate is up as we speak.
I love it. And thank you very much. And so I unfortunately, guys, we do not get to have the great virtual setup that Kevin Feige usually has for these.
We have better.
So the first project that I would like to announce for my Phase 7, I had to wear the shirt to complement the experience here. But I did Captain America, Who Will Wield the Shield?
Whoa.
Yeah. And so I chose Captain America because Captain America's had a flawless trilogy. Like as someone who's literally I've watched both First Avenger and Winter Soldier. And what I like about the journey, especially too, as I continue to go through the MCU, with the Falcon and Winter Soldier. We have this buddy cop journey. They're finally all getting to be friends. But one thing that I liked about their story was the meaning of Captain America. What does Captain America mean to the MCU? And what I like about it is it hasn't been a great journey. It hasn't been a perfect journey. I mean, he gave it to Sam, and I think Sam deserves it. I think he proves that he brings the valor that Captain America does. So what I liked about Captain America Brave New World was he was working with Isaiah Bradley, and he is a Captain America of the Vietnam War. So what I thought about this when I thought about the story, I love the title. It's kind of like the comic in the sense that they talk about who deserves to be given the shield. But the arc of my story is that the other part of this is that in the early parts of the MCU, when Winter Soldier, they leaked out all the files. They at the end, Fury mentions to Steve that a lot of Hydra agents didn't go down with the ship. So that leaves so much room to really explore. And I thought what would be really clever is that Steve, especially because he's like, yo, Shield's got to go, Hydra, we got to stop him. What Steve and Sam and Bucky do is they go and find all the different project programs that try to replicate the Captain America formula. So you explore the story of like how they tried all these different things and how they got all these different projects. And now we can't do all of them because technically you get into the weeds with Rocket a little bit. But what I like is that you could do, for example, I know where we're going to go very quickly, but I'm going to take my time here. Is one of them would be Man-Thing, because we've seen him now in Werewolf by Night, but his program was based on Captain America. And then you also go through the Hulk a little bit, which again, after watching the Hulk again, Edward Norton's Hulk, I really wish that not that Edward Norton wasn't good because it's Edward Norton, but Ruffalo was in the beginning, because that movie is amazing. Like, it is actually really good. So yeah, they go through the different programs. Now, as they're going through like different Hydra programs and like different programs that have like tried to recreate Captain America, like the weapons program. So there's someone on the Hydra side collecting data and trying to clean up these abandoned facilities. And that person is Taskmaster, the OG Taskmaster, Alex Masters, because he used to be a SHIELD agent, and he's running around cleaning up. And he also has henchmen. So I thought that was a nice add to it. So like at first they deal with the henchmen, and then later on you meet Alex Masters. And then you also talk about the Red Room, which Bucky brings up, because Bucky knows about the Red Room. And then that's when you tie in the idea that Alex Master says, well, I sold, like they have a lot of banter back and forth Taskmaster, because there'll be a couple of battles with them, kind of like a spy versus spy kind of feel. And he mentions like, hey, like, you think you fought the real Taskmaster. You didn't. That was my program. I sold that bad boy. Let me show you how it's done kind of vibe. So as the journey progresses, they kind of learn that like it's not only important to have one person wield the shield, but that person need to inspire others. And that's where Sam really kind of cements himself in the story, is like he demonstrates how he inspires them to look past the idea that like Captain America failed, or like, Hydra still won kind of thing, and that like just rising above. And they bring in the US agent at times, they bring in Isaiah Bradley, and then they also raise the end credit scene is that the one that joins the fray is the young patriot, Isaiah Bradley's kid that we see in Falcon Winter Soldier. And then the second end credit scene is they mentioned there's one more program we need to go check out, and it's in Department H. And Department H leads to a teaser of Wolverine, and they go to the facility and they see the chamber that Wolverine broke out of.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
Great. I love that you integrated so much of the Captain America lore into it. It's almost like in the same way that Into the Spider-Verse was like a celebration of everything Spider-Man. It sounds like you
Mhm.
made the movie that's a celebration of everything Captain America.
Mhm.
That sounds
Yeah, I really, because like again, his movies are like every movie he's in or that he has, they're all solid entries. Like they're just like so well thought out. Is Okay. Actually, Tiago brought up a good point in the chat
Mhm.
here because this is a great question. Is Steve somehow in the past while doing this? There will be flashbacks. I would do a flashback with Isaiah Bradley in Vietnam where like he's wearing kind of a ripped up military uniform and he has like a Captain America fan shirt underneath, and then
Uh-huh.
he wears the blue bandana, or it could be black, it doesn't really matter. And then he picks up a metal object that looks like a shield, and he kind of recreates that moment that Cap did with the car, and he has
Yeah.
the star and shield kind of thing. And so there would be that flashback in that story of like how they attempted to create Captain America in there. So that's how I would do it. And then there will be another story later on that I'll talk about. So yeah, but yeah, that's where we're
Wicked.
going.
So cool. Thanks for your question,
Mhm.
Tiago. That's a great opening movie, Mr. Ryan. I
Mhm.
love it. Okay. So far, so good. Here we go.
Uh-huh. All right.
All right.
I'm like getting beyond excited as we're continuing here. Go ahead.
So, like you said, Shang-Chi is like a good starting point because it's kind of his pocket is a little bit small and we can kind of ease you into this post Secret Wars world. But after Shang-Chi, I figured we're just going to come out swinging here now and really open things up. So, what better time to introduce our friends, the X-Men, than right now?
Oh, that early.
That
Oh my
early.
god.
And you know what? I'm keeping the logo because don't fix what ain't broken. That is a perfect logo. So my X-Men film, I actually didn't go into super detail on the storyline for this one too much, but I had some fun things in here because there's so much X-Men that you could really kind of go all out with it. But we have Xavier's new team of X-Men, and they're struggling with a choice, which we've seen before in some X-Men movies and such, where the choice of using their powers to protect the world from threats, including a mid-film battle against a rampaging juggernaut, because I needed to
Oh.
get my boy Juggernaut in there as like a mid-boss kind of thing. So they have
Yeah.
the choice: should we use our powers to stop threats like this guy, or give up our mutations to the mysterious Essex Corporation, where Nathaniel Essex, aka Mr. Sinister, claims to be curing mutants when in actuality he's harvesting their DNA for his own nefarious purposes. And when the X-Men catch wind of this, they resolve to find his secret storage facility and destroy it. But of course, there's the whole choice of like, man, okay, well, it's easy for Storm to say I'll keep my powers, but for someone like a Morlock, it's a little bit tougher to make that distinction. So we introduce obviously a bunch of X-Men characters in this. Mr. Sinister is our main villain. Juggernaut's in there too as like a secondary bad guy. I thought somewhere in there it would be fun to have a cameo, just a little taste of William Stryker somewhere in the news, because he would probably have something to say about all of this going on. I also thought, and I only did this for this movie, but Marvel is really good with their needle drops, Ryan. We know that they do a needle drop and they do it well. They've kind of pioneered it. So I found a needle drop that I think I needed to have in this movie. And it involves our friend Storm. So I decided that at some point in this movie, Storm is going to have a romantic plot where she's in love with somebody. I don't know. She's had tons of relationships in the comics. It could be anybody. Doesn't really matter. But I figured at the end of the movie, when everything's kind of wrapping up and we see our happy resolution to everything, I picture Storm and whoever this person is up on like a balcony on top of Xavier's mansion. And Storm grabs this person and starts kissing them, and like she lifts them up in the air because she can fly. And even though it's raining, she creates a bubble of no rain and like, you know, nice temperate weather, because that's what she does. And while this happens, we hear the song "You Are" by Lionel Richie, because he literally says, "You are the sun, you are the rain." And I'm like, okay, here we go. This is Storm. So that's my needle drop for X-Men. So 2 quick post-credit scenes here. In the first scene, Mr. Sinister escapes from whatever they've done to him. And he doesn't escape to anywhere, Ryan. He escapes to the Savage Land, where he is greeted by Sauron, who tells him that everything is going according to plan. The second scene, again, this one's more fun. The second scene is one shot. Camera never moves, camera never cuts. And it's of a police evidence lockup room. And we can see among all the evidence that's been locked up is Juggernaut's helmet, because they've beaten him in the movie. We see a sparkly portal open up in this evidence room. And Wong steps through. And he takes the helmet. And he says, "Back to the vault with you." And then as he's carrying it back to the portal, curiosity gets the better of him for a moment, and he tries it on, and he immediately becomes really buff. And we hear him say, "Ugh, this thing smells like sweat and bacon." And then he disappears through the portal.
I love it. All right. I like the Wong. Again, I think you do a creative overlap, because normally, again, Wong is not normally tied in with the X-Men. So it's like, it's an interesting touch. I like it. I like you're going the Sinister route. I would say definitely, from what the rumors I've been hearing about where X-Men may be going, is like Sinister is like the big villain of X-Men. So I like you're playing on that note for sure. I like it. All right.
Yeah, we got to see Sinister. It's time. It's been too long now.
It has, and I've seen some fan casting. John Hamm was a choice.
Yeah.
I like the presence he brings, but the voice is what sells Sinister. Like, John Hamm has a good voice, but I don't think he has the ideal voice for Mr. Sinister. And again, Marvel proved me wrong. I'm happy. I'd be more than happy to be proven wrong. So, but yeah, I trust Marvel would cast someone really good for it. All right. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Your slate is up.
All right. Next one on my list is Spider-Woman.
What?
Yeah, I went for a wild choice here. Okay, so the whole point of Spider-Woman, if you read, I think it's especially her earlier stories, Hydra has manipulated her entire life, okay? Even giving false identity to control her, and she's like one of the more underrated stories. So this is going to be another kind of espionage feel, because I like a good rhythm to things. So this would play to the theme, kind of like, how would I phrase this? She's kind of sick. She's kind of sick from something that they're not sure what it is. So her father takes her to like an experimental lab, and they inject her with a special type of serum, and then Hydra swoops in, takes her, and she grows up on this Hydra training camp, kind of behind the scenes. Because if you look at the end credit scenes of Winter Soldier, there's the scientist, and then there's Baron Strucker. And they said that there's so many different experiments that the Shield will never find them all. And she gets abandoned, because Hydra gets dismantled. So she doesn't know what the world's like yet, because she's just been buried in this training camp. So she wakes up at the Hydra facility. She's told she's Hydra's top agent. And she kind of is like going around stealing old. It's all right. So she's told that you need to go steal some like Hydra tech. And we kind of see this would take place in the 80s, which is where Ant-Man was. And that's when we see a Sharon Carter as well. Or sorry, not Sharon Carter, a Peggy Carter. Kind of older, but and then later on she also fights Sharon Carter as well. So yeah. And then so as she goes through this, she regains her memories. She fights some Shield agents, which is really fun. And then she develops her identity as we go. And then at the end credits, she kind of figures out who, at this point at the end of the film, she's already figured out who she is. She becomes Spider-Woman. She becomes the hero that she's always deserved to be. And the end credit sequence is she gets introduced to a new Shield, obviously, where this is where Nick Fury comes into play, and he introduces her to Sword and recruits her to Sword and tells her that she can now make a difference being on the right side, kind of thing.
Ooh.
Mhm.
All right. And this is the I forget her name, the red and yellow Spider-Woman, right? Not the black.
This is red and yellow. And sorry, I made a correction on my note here. Not in the 80s. This is take place in the 90s, so it takes place at the same time as Captain Marvel.
Got it.
And it's a younger Sharon Carter that like fights her. So yeah, that's what
Younger Sharon Carter.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. All right. I love
because I need to say that I wanted the overlap of Captain America, because like Captain America is like the villain is Hydra.
Mhm.
So I wanted, if we're gonna have Shield and like, you know, like again, attempt at a Captain America here, Spider-Woman, I felt like Sharon Carter would be a good kind of antagonist to this character, but at the same time, every conflict is building her to be a hero, as like they're dismantling Hydra not only around her but within her.
Got it. Okay. That's great. I love that. Such a great left field choice. And it's an unsung character that we've been missing, and it hasn't even really been on a lot of people's radar. And I love it. And there's so many Spider-Women. So the fact that we don't even have one is...
I mean, yeah, I mean, the Iron Man cartoon, she was like there for 90% of it. Like, you could do so much. And she's been in other projects, which I will get to. But yeah, there's so much you could do with her, and she's such an underrated character to use. So I was very excited to put her in.
Beautiful. Yeah, great choice. And I love the classic logo. Fantastic. All right. Hey, it matches the red and yellow of my second logo too. We're like the chrysalids, Ryan.
Going for the theme.
Well, speaking of going for the theme, I'm glad that Spider-Woman was on your mind, because for my third movie, I thought it was high time to get into our buddy Spider-Man. And for a while, that was a tough choice. So what I have here is called Spider-Man Web of Shadows.
Okay.
And Spider-Man is a tricky one, Ryan, because I was like, what do I do? We're 10 Spider-Man movies deep. We've seen so much.
What hasn't been covered, you know? Yeah.
What hasn't been covered, and more to the point, how has Spider-Man not been covered yet in a way that I would find interesting, and that would include the parts of Spider-Man that I particularly hold near and dear to my heart. So we have here Spider-Man Web of Shadows. And here is the pitch. Now so we're assuming whatever brand new day happens, and boom, here we are. So now he's working as a photographer for the Daily Bugle. Peter Parker must accompany J. Jonah Jameson to a gala to report on the grand opening of Mayor Fisk's new mega skyscraper, Fisk Tower.
I knew you'd go that direction. There was a betting app on this already. That would have been...
Well, unbeknownst to Peter and to anybody, the criminal mastermind Chameleon is infiltrating the gala. He's planning to assassinate one of the foreign dignitaries on the guest list. To ensure his own success, Chameleon has hired friends. He has agents who have broken 3 supervillains out of the raft to join his team: Scorpion, Rhino, and Shocker. When the supervillains launch their attack, Fisk Tower locks down, trapping Peter, the supervillains, Fisk, and a whole lot of innocent civilians inside. That's right, mofos. Spider-Man's doing a Die Hard.
Oh my God, a Die Hard Spider-Man. That is really clever. That is really good. Oh my God, I would pay a lot of money to see that.
Oh, I'm already waiting at the theater. And of course, it wouldn't be complete without a nice little plot twist. So the plot twist is going to reveal that Kingpin himself actually hired Chameleon to pull off this assassination at his gala. And the dignitary who is targeted for assassination happens to be Sylvia Sabelanova, aka the Silver Sable, sovereign of the Kingdom of Simcaria. So we're meeting Silver Sable. We're finally getting an MCU Rhino. We're finally getting an MCU Chameleon. We're finally getting the goddamn Kingpin in his white suit where he should be. Sorry, Hell's Kitchen, but Kingpin belongs with Spider-Man. And I figured we could have some fun with cameos at this gala. We could have some really rich, really nefarious people in the Marvel world. So I figured, why don't we, just for a minute, meet people like Henry Gyrick, Warren Worthington III, maybe even Sebastian Shaw. Right? Just some rich people in there to fill out the ranks. And at last here, I have a post-credit scene that this one is just for fun. But it's something that I think you will appreciate as it's a very deep cut reference. This post-credit scene it takes place, because this whole thing is a Die Hard, it all takes place on the same night. So this scene takes place earlier that same day at the Baxter Building. Sue Storm is tinkering with the engine of the Fantastic Car, and Johnny walks in and he's holding the day's mail and he's going through the mail. And he says, "Hey, Sue, we just got a last-minute invite to the opening of Mayor Fisk's new tower. Are we going to go to that?" And Sue's like, "Mayor Fisk? Ew, no." Johnny's like, "Okay." And then he lights the paper on fire, and then he just casually strolls out of the room and continues to sort through the mail.
I wish Stan Lee was still alive, because then he could have delivered the mail.
Exactly.
That would be so good. I honestly am not surprised how bad you want Spider-Man and Fisk, because I know you're a big fan of the cartoon, like I am, and your lovely comment about my video. But yeah, I know like Spider-Man is synonymous with Kingpin with you, but I will say that you have gotten almost everything you needed from what Vincent D'Onofrio's done with Fisk. I mean, his Fisk is really good, and he's wearing the white suit now. He's wearing the white suit a lot more.
Every scene in the new season so far, he's been in white, and I've been like, "Thank you." And Tiago, for your comment here, yeah, you're absolutely right. He's showing up as Peter. We will find some way to get him into the suit, because I would like to see him in the suit when he goes up against Kingpin at least. But yeah, he's there not only trying to figure it out with his wits, but obviously there's a building full of innocent people. So it's not going to be as easy as it normally is for him to save folks without a considerable amount of collateral damage. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenge for him, and it's going to be something different that we haven't seen in a Spider-Man film before. I basically thought, every Spider-Man movie has so many great set pieces. So I was like, what if one of those set pieces was just the entire movie? How would Spider-Man deal with that?
Tough call. But I love it. I have to also commend you because, man, you're just giving the audience what they want. You give them Song Chi at first, which is great, kind of exploring new territory kind of thing, and then X-Men, then Spider-Man. You just go right for I wouldn't be surprised if your next one's Fantastic Four based on the pattern that you've done already. But we'll see. All right, sweet. All right. No, I love it. All right, let's
put you back up on the slate. Here you go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the next project I'd like to announce in my Marvel MCU lineup is the Heroes for Hire. So this actually, I didn't say that all my projects would be all movies. The first two are movies. This is a Disney Plus project. So after the events of Daredevil Born Again and of course, with Luke Cage, where it was at with his last show, New York's vigilante scene is completely fractured, right? We especially what we've been seeing with Daredevil. No spoilers, but Daredevil Born Again, we've seen a lot of the anti-vigilante task force. There's so crime is rising. Avengers are gone, and I would like to see a bit more commentary to that. So. There's a mysterious private security conglomerate called the Archon Group. They step in and offered enhanced protection services. So the funny thing about Heroes for Hire, especially in the earlier comics and some of the TV shows, they always have a weird offshoot of themselves. There's a guy that would look like Luke Cage, but he has he's just a hairy looking weird guy, but he's super strong, but he's just, he's just a B version of Luke Cage. And there's also a B version of Iron Fist. So this Archon Group is essentially doing that. And so this Archon group, their pitch, you'll see their advertisements on TV as Luke Cage is just like kind of wandering the streets trying to figure out what he's going to do. And their pitch in the commercial is, why rely on unpredictable heroes when you can hire professionals? So this rise starts creating a huge crime wave. And so Luke Cage talks to Danny, and they decided is like, hey, if bad guys can monetize heroism, why can't the good guys do it ethically? And then thus they start the Heroes for Hire. And then so again, they start kind of rebuilding the hero thing. They start working with Daredevil, Matt, and the subtitle for this, or like the last episode, would be called "The Devil You Don't Pay." And so yeah, and then they take out all these kind of B offshoots, using Stark tech. Like you'll see the like various henchmen using various Avenger things, and Luke and Danny, the journey they have, their friendship really solidifies here to the point where we finally get what we've always wanted. Kind of they teased it in Luke Cage season 2, where they Danny's kind of got this all this Eastern philosophy about how to do things. But in my mind, as I've always said, if the cartoon does it right, then you're doing, like, if the cartoon does it better, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And so if you ever watch Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which I know you have, that friendship, that stage of friendship is what we finally get to in this one as well. And then we saw them teased in She-Hulk, but the Wrecking Crew comes back.
Yes.
So the Wrecking Crew would be the ultimate villain here. And then at the end, they're kind of starting a street level Avengers, and then they meet up with Spider-Woman because she's been a part of the Heroes for Hire. And she's like, hey guys, I was hoping to do something a little bit more grounded, kind of be like a friendly neighborhood thing, like tease like she's almost like Spider-Man, and yeah, have them be like, all right, and and then at the second end credit sequence is like you see the store that they build called the Heroes for Hire.
Ooh, oh man, this is so much fun. I love it. I love it. And the Wrecking Crew, what a perfect way to bring that back, put some relevance back into She-Hulk, because it needs it. And they're such a cool classic villain team, and they kind of got the short end of the stick in that show. So getting them here as a major threat is fantastic. Are you going with the whole Asgard power thing too, like their crowbars magic? Yeah. Sweet.
Yep. Going for the whole Asgard tie-in here. And like the other thing too is that there would be a bit of mention to Captain America, because Luke Cage was one of the experiments of the weapons program. So there's kind of that nod there. And that, I will say, at this point, I just want to make sure. Yeah. So at this point, okay, this kind of caps off the kind of Hydra Captain America story arc that I'm doing here. So it kind of ends at that point.
I see. Okay. So after this, we've got another arc that you're introducing.
Yeah.
Okay. Very fun. All right. Heroes for Hire. I love it. Okay. Do you have the same people that you want to see play Luke Cage and Iron Fist, or are you going like fresh new start?
It's funny. I actually do like both actors as Luke Cage and Iron Fist. I really feel that despite like whatever rumors there were about like the actor not participating in rehearsals, or the actor who plays Iron Fist wasn't like participating in rehearsals or something like that, I don't know. I don't believe it personally. I would just say, like, look, when you put the right effort in, Marvel can fix anything. If they can fix the Mandarin the way they fixed the Mandarin and fix Trevor Slattery, you honestly, you could do anything. So I really like their casting. And I think that there's like Iron Fist. I'm a big Iron Fist fan. And let me tell you, there is some gems in that series, especially the first season. There's some really solid moments. And I just think they didn't lean hard enough, or like the writing's all over the place. So yes, they could do it.
I'll tell you who did. Bless you. I'll tell you who did lean hard enough. His name's Bakudo. Okay. All right. So here we go with my fourth movie of my Phase 7. And Ryan, it is criminal. It is criminal that we're at a point in the world now where we have 7 Jurassic Park movies. We're about to have 12 Fast and the Furious movies. And we still don't have a goddamn Doctor Strange trilogy. Well, I'm fixing that. Please put your hands together for Doctor Strange in the Dark Dimension. This character deserves 5 trilogies as far as I'm concerned. So we got to start picking up the slack there. But Doctor Strange in the Dark Dimension is going to be just a balls to the wall, fun, magical, good time. And picking up kind of where we left off before, while trying to seal all of the incursions during the multiverse saga, right? Strange and Clea, they inadvertently free Nightmare from his prison. So now they must find a way.
Big Nightmare fan here.
Yeah, Nightmare's a big one. Now they have to find a way to seal him up again before the Dark Dimension overtakes the rest of the universe. Things get complicated, however, when they discover that Nightmare is being aided by Mordo. Because, damn it, it's been 2 movies and he still has not had his time to shine as a villain. Let's go. Chiwetel Ejiofor deserves all the time under the sun as possible as Mordo. So we have Nightmare and Mordo kind of tag teaming as our 2 big bads here. I include, because I just want to, because I love him, we're going to get a cameo from Mephisto. Just a little bitty one, and along the same lines as when we saw Thanos in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's just going to pop in for a scene and remind everybody that he's the baddest mofo of all the bad mofos. And then we get our post-credits scenes. And Ryan, if this doesn't get your motor running, I don't know what will. But here we go. So the first post-credit scene is this. Strange and Clea, they're hanging out in the sanctorum, and they receive a mysterious, wow, Andrew can read. They receive a mysterious magical summons inside an enchanted black envelope. When they open it, it whisks them away to a conference table on an otherworldly plane. The Hood from Ironheart is there. He reveals that he is the one who summoned them because he needs their help to save Riri Williams from Mephisto. In the second post-credit scene, we see Jack Russell, aka the Werewolf by Night. He's hiding out inside an abandoned church. He seems frightened, like someone's been chasing him. Then a dark figure crashes through a stained glass window, and it's a vampire. And it has Jack cornered. And just before it can attack, the vampire is skewered by a sword and it dissolves into dust, revealing Blade standing behind it. And Russell says, "Who the hell are you?" And Blade says, "You're welcome." And then suddenly there's a swirl of magic in the air and an enchanted black envelope appears in both of their hands. Blade has just enough time to say, "Oh, shit," before he and Russell are whisked away to the Hood's meeting. And that's how we end Doctor Strange in the Dark Dimension.
Yeah, you got me, man. Of course, I'm a sucker for Doctor Strange, but that Clea angle needs to be played out. It really does.
Yeah.
Clea is such a cool character. In the comics, she's a big character to the Doctor Strange world. Honestly, you talk about, Robert Downey Jr. like being solidified as Tony Stark. Chris Evans, Captain America, Tom Holland, Spider-Man, oh my God, I'm freezing on her name here. Scarlet Witch.
Elizabeth Olsen.
Elizabeth Olsen, thank you. Like she just nails Scarlet Witch. The list goes on. But Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange, is just too spot on. As well as Benedict Wong playing Wong.
Oh yeah.
It's a great angle, and I agree. It is criminal that they haven't finished Doctor Strange. I'm a big fan of the Multiverse of Madness, although it is a not in a bad way, in a good way. It is a polarizing film. Like people just either love it or they hate it. And I think the most brilliant thing was Sam Raimi being the director of a wild character that needs a wild director to do something really fun.
Yeah.
Great call. All right.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah, let's
Put
do
you
it.
back up there. There you go.
Okay. All right. Well, sir, much like yourself, I'm on the same page because I also did a Doctor Strange film. Yeah, I couldn't believe you picked the same spot of all things. So I kind of did a similar angle with the Clea adventure, but that's only the first like kind of act of the film. She talks about that there's many incursions and all the stuff's going on, and she leads him to Doctor Doom. And this story is one of Doctor Strange's best comic book stories because it's about how Doctor Doom's mother is trapped in Mephisto's realm.
Right.
And so he needs Doctor Strange help after being picked as the Sorcerer Supreme. So because Doctor Strange isn't the Sorcerer Supreme in this one, but he was Doctor Doom's world, they don't have the Sorcerer Supreme, and they need one in order to be able to get her out. So he enlists this Doctor Strange, and this becomes a test to prove that Doctor Strange is and deserves to be the Sorcerer Supreme once again. So what happens is that, of course, if you've read the comic, Doom does betray him, and Doctor Strange Doom. Classic Doom. But Doctor Strange does kind of like what he did in the first film, which is he thinks outside the box and does a deal with Mephisto that ends up getting him out of it in a really clever way. And I think that kind of plays to the fun story arc of Doctor Strange, but it will harken back to a critical moment in the Doctor Strange journey, which was the Ancient One, when she told him that his his flexibility will be the better of Baron Mordo. So that will play into the theme of this whole thing, and that he kind of outwits his way, and because he's flexible and understands the laws of magic and reality and all that stuff, and time, so he's able to do it. And then he gets out, and when he gets out, normally in the comic it starts backwards, where they have this massive event where he becomes this Sorcerer Supreme once again. He gets out, and only to come back to the test to become the Sorcerer Supreme. And you'll see different cameos from all sorts of different Doctor Strange characters that cast magic, but you'll see the Vishanti, you'll see like all the different spells he harkens to, the Wand of Watum and all that, like the Watum, sorry. You'll also see Sidorak, which not even in an end credit sequence, by the way. You'll see Sidorak, which is of course the power that gives Juggernaut's powers. And so they have their ceremony to begin the test of Sorcerer Supreme. Wong's there as well, and Doctor Doom's there, and then people out him because he's not really a sorcerer, he's just a scientist, but his armor does have magical capabilities, as Wong has talked about. They infuse magic in things in Doctor Strange, so he gets to participate. And then Doctor Strange, knowing that Doctor Doom's not a good character, the ultimate magic tests begin, and that's where it ends. Like it starts, there'll be a crazy battle of magic and just all this color and effects, but you don't know who wins at the end. And that's where it leaves. And Clea is even part of this too. Like she's part of the whole journey. But like I said, her part of the story is the first half, and then you kind of go from there. So it's a really interesting thing. And hold on, I just need to double check something. Yes, okay. And did I say the end credit scene? No, I didn't, right?
No.
Okay. So the end credit scene is that he walks away, the Sorcerer Supreme, and a Hell's portal opens, and then you hear as it turns orange, Hell portal opens, it turns from orange to green, like a green flame, and all you hear is a whisper, Lilith. and that's it.
Oh boy.
Mhm.
Oh
Mhm.
boy. Okay, well, I'm in. As soon as I saw the logo, I'm in. I've beat this drum many times on our show, but like
Yeah.
we should be on Doctor Strange movie part 9 right now. Like there's so much there to get to. I
Yep.
cannot fathom why they've only made 2 movies of him. But this is great, and it sounds like, unless I heard wrong, it sounds like you got a cliffhanger ending here, which is
I
very
do.
cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I'm always all for that too. I can't wait to see how you resolve this. Okay, Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom. Beautiful, beautiful. So I think this means clearly that when Feige does announce Phase 7, Doctor Strange will be the 4th movie, regardless of what he comes up with.
Mhm.
All right. Where am I here? Where's my stuff? Here we go. Okay, so for my 5th film, I'm going into the world of the world that Ryan loves, but I'm taking my own approach to it. I'm not adapting anything in particular. We're gonna go see the Fantastic Four again. It's time. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I've got here a little film called The Fantastic Four: Fast Forward. All right, so this is going to go a little left of center from what you're used to in the Fantastic Four world, Ryan. So forgive me. I apologize for the biblical atrocity I'm about to perform here, but it is what it is. So, after the events of the X-Men movie, I didn't clarify this in the X-Men movie, but at some point, somebody, some character is going to die in the X-Men movie.
Ooh.
Okay. And that's going to carry on into this. So, after the events of X-Men that led to that person's death, whoever it is, Reed Richards, who was invested in this person staying alive for whatever reason, be it emotional or otherwise, attempts to improve upon Tony Stark's time travel technology from Endgame, hoping to go back in time and stop the death. But the time machine malfunctions, and the Fantastic Four become stuck in the far future. Now, in this future, because the Fantastic Four had time traveled and they're gone and they were not present to stop it, someone has systematically killed off all of the world's superheroes. So now it's up to the Fantastic Four to get back to the past and stop this from happening. I thought it might be fun because I'm not happy with the way things ended with him, but it might be fun to have a cameo from our friend Kang the Conqueror in here. But he's not our villain, Ryan. He is not the person responsible for this atrocity, killing all the superheroes. Our villain in the future is Maestro, the savage, brilliant future Hulk who has turned to the dark side and killed everybody. So that's what the Fantastic Four are going to be dealing with. And they have to, obviously, they can't match Maestro hand to hand. And he's pretty smart, too. So they're going to have to, sharpen their wits. But it's going to be about traveling back in time to stop him before what he did comes to pass.
Right.
And in a post-credit scene, I decided that the Fantastic Four's Earth defense equipment starts going off again, and Reed notices that they're picking up a signal which seems partly familiar, but he can't identify it. So we follow the signal up into the atmosphere and into space, where we see Norrin Rad, the Silver Surfer, hurtling through the stars towards Earth.
Not even Shia LaBeouf.
And that is Fantastic Four: Fast Forward.
Okay, I like it. The biggest thing I like about this particular story is you picked a very cool character. Maestro is a really fun character to do, and it's brilliant because I think what I like about what Mark Ruffalo has been doing is, like, it seems like he's in this for the long haul. He's in this for the long haul. So I'm very, very, I just love the fact that you can just use him in so many projects. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad he was in She-Hulk. I'm glad he's in Spider-Man. I think he's kind of like a Kirk Connors like kind of character, the way they're writing him, even though I hear Kirk Connors was in it. So yeah, there's just like so many fun things you can do. So that's just a brilliant angle to go with. I like
Thanks,
it.
buddy.
All right. So
let's get you back up there. There we go.
I did the Mystic route. And so there's going to be some stuff there that I'll tease later on. So that brings me to the next one. And I decided to, we're creating momentum. We're giving you breadcrumbs to stories. So with that being said, We need to bring it all together with stories you don't know. So
Mm.
I figured it was high in time that we finally introduce the X-Men.
Hey-oh! Ooh,
Yeah.
the uncanny too. I love it.
The uncanny X-Men. Okay. So this one, you talk about with Spider-Man, they've hit all the notes, right? So where do you go with X-Men? Because X-Men is hard to do now because we've seen Phoenix, the Phoenix Saga. I mean, granted, maybe not the best Phoenix Saga, but we've seen it twice.
Mhm.
And yes, you could fix that. But it's hard to do right now because if the cartoon sets such a precedent, um, the cartoon set such a precedent, and then on top of that, the movies have tackled it from different angles. So you kind of lost the element of surprise with that particular story.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you could do Days of Future Past, and I'm like, but they've done that too, and that was kind of like in a time where like the market has seen this movie, and it's not bad, but it's not great either. It kind of lives in this middle ground.
Mhm.
So I was like, man, like, what do you do? Like, we've done First Class, we've done what else have we done? X2, we've done like the kind of the Weapon X story. And I was like, okay, so far right now, we have Damage Control that is kind of building a momentum to like the cartoon's first episode where they raid the Mutant Registration Act kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I was like, I kind of like that momentum. And what I like is that the way I would do this is I would start with the like kind of like what they did with the first X-Men movie, where you see news articles. Okay. And then you see kind of flashback moments, but you see an overarching narrative about how Damage Control is like hunting enhanced individuals,
Right.
and that snowballs into them uh electing Senator oh my god, why am I freezing on his name?
Kelly.
Senator Kelly. Thank you. They elect Senator Kelly, and then he's assassinated by a mutant. And then they release the Sentinels, start rounding them up, and you kind of get this kind of series of flashbacks, and you see moments of X-Men, but you don't get a clear shot of them. You see, like, you'll see Cyclops kind of in a shadow shooting the beam, taking out
Ooh.
a Sentinel, but you don't see who's casted as them or anything. Like, it's all shadows. Okay. um and then it starts with the X-Men kind of theme. It's kind of a orchestrated version of like both the cartoon, but a slightly remixed. And the subtitle is One Man's Worth.
Hmm.
And it's the assassination of Xavier. And
Okay.
it starts in the future where Bishop is in a war. He's in the war, and we're talking way past we're talking way past like the one that we know from the cartoon where it plays the Days of Future Past, and him and Gable mess with time kind of thing. We're talking like we're talking Age of Apocalypse kind of level, where it's like like the city's a barren wasteland. It's kind of Avengers versus X-Men, like metahumans versus mutants, and like this kind of battle. And then Bishop's figuring out like who was responsible, like how did the world get to this way. And the passion I have behind this one too is it kind of plays to the commentary of like today's world, not to get too into it or anything like that, but like it kind of plays to that note. And it's like, who, like, what could change this whole thing? And then it's the learning of the X-Men,
Right.
and more importantly, Xavier. And you see
Mhm.
Magneto like in the battle, like you don't get to talk to him. You just see him like flying through the air and like destroying stuff. And then that causes Bishop to go back to like the X-Men we know in the world of the MCU. So it's kind of a
Got
fun
it.
way to introduce them. But the fun fact is like, again, in this movie, it's all about Bishop and his cousin,
Shard.
Shard. Shard.
Mhm.
And you only get to meet you only get like we're talking like the last shot of the movie is like the danger room door opening and you see the outline of the X-Men, but it's literally about Bishop, Shard, and Xavier, and that's all it is. And that's the way I would do it, because I don't want to get fully into the X-Men yet. This is just the setup for the X-Men.
Wow, dude, that
Yeah.
is such a cool way to do it. Wow, that's
Yeah.
so outside the box.
And it would play to the cartoons episode of One Man's Worth if you ever watch it. Of course you've watched it, but I mean,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
the people watching the show, if you watch the original cartoon, there's a two-parter series called One Man's Worth, and it's a time travel story with Bishop where he goes like to Xavier's time, which is I think like the 1960s ish. But yeah, when they do his war scene in that, it's kind of like an Age of Apocalypse look,
Yeah.
which is fun because what I like about it too is I was thinking about introducing some X-Men during that battle scene where you see like Magneto flying around doing everything. I was thinking about having Wolverine in it, but I'm trying to hold Wolverine as much as I can. So I was thinking for this Wolverine, it would be the Henry Cavill Wolverine for this one.
Fair. Okay.
He would have the hand cut off.
Mm.
And then Storm would be I don't have a full casting yet, but there's the one person I've been watching because people have been asking for this particular Storm casting was there's a wrestler apparently that's really passionate about being Storm, and she has the look for it. Like she has the build, she has I think she even has the white hair.
Oh, wow.
And I thought what would be a cool idea is either have Storm be the Storm we know and love. And by that I mean like have whoever the new Storm's going to be that Storm, but you meet her in this world. And Henry Cavill would just be a fun cameo because I don't want to cast and show Wolverine, the real Wolverine yet, but I thought it would be smart and clever to have some cast members that you see of the X-Men in this war that Bishop takes part in. Some of them are the real people, but you don't know which ones. So like let's say Sadie Sink, for example, is Jean Grey.
Right.
Okay. You would see her there in this war, but not all the characters of the X-Men you see there are going to stay the X-Men.
Got it.
It's kind of a diversion tactic so that you go, oh, there's my X-Men. No, it's like, remember this world is showing what the world is like without Xavier.
Yeah.
So I want to show what could be, and then play with the fans a bit, and then at the end show the outline of the actual cast of the X-Men, but you don't see who it is.
I like that very much. It serves as like this little sample platter because you know you're going to get X-Men. It's not like the movie is promising X-Men and then it's like lying to you. Like, you know, there's going to be an X-Men movie that shows everything, but to build up to it in this way where they are these mythical level people, and you're getting little tastes and snatches of them, and you're just dipping your toes in their world because it is such a deep world. To kind of get people to start in the shallow end. I think that was such a smart idea on your part.
Thank you. Yeah, and like again, I was having so much fun with the idea, and it was really hard to get around like all the major stories because I was like Night of the Sentinels. But I'm like, yeah, but the cartoon did such a good job with Jubilee and like doing that. And I'm like, where do you begin? And it's like you begin with talking about the one person that's like the centerpiece of the whole thing.
Yeah.
It made it really fun. So,
and you bring up Jubilee in the same way that they used her so well to be the audience proxy to introduce them to the world of X-Men. You got the same thing going on here with Bishop and Shard. You are introducing the audience to the X-Men through them. That's beautiful. Yeah, I'm sold.
Yeah.
All right. So both of our fourth movies involve wizards and both of our fifth movies involve time travel. I'd say we're on a good wavelength here. All right. It's time for my fifth movie. And well, Ryan, if it was criminal that Doctor Strange doesn't have a trilogy yet. It's pretty equally criminal that we don't have a trilogy for our boy T'Challa. So here we go. Welcome back to Wakanda. Whoa, that's too much. That's too much.
Sorry.
What happened there? There we go. All right. We have Black Panther, Secret Empire. That's where we're sitting right now. Black Panther, Secret Empire, our third Black Panther movie. We've got a T'Challa on the throne once again. And here's the deal. Ryan, did you like Captain America Civil War?
Oh, I loved it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, you're going to really like this because it is more of that in a different vein. The story is after a vibranium-clad villain ravages Washington, and I thought as a nice comic callback, this vibranium-clad villain could be William Stryker and his purifiers because they have been known to use vibranium weapons.
Ooh.
So after a vibranium-clad villain ravages Washington, the U.S. sends a team to Wakanda, demanding that they share more of their vibranium reserves. T'Challa says no. What follows is a Civil War-esque ethical debate in which Team Wakanda wishes to keep vibranium out of unsafe hands, while Team America believes it is in everyone's best interests to have it. At some point, we learn that the person who stole and then sold the vibranium to Stryker was Samuel Stearns, the leader who had previously escaped from his cell in the raft. So the leader is going to be our villain, and he's going to be a much more effective villain than I think he was in Captain America Brave New World. And we're going to have these two teams, Team Wakanda and Team America, that are going to be going up against each other in this debate. So Team Wakanda is obviously Black Panther. I think it's time for Black Panther to meet Storm, so she's going to be there in Team Wakanda, as well as Invisible Woman, Wolverine, and Hulk. They're one team. The American team, on the other hand, is going to be our buddy Captain America, as well as his new Falcon there, Joaquin Torres, along with White Widow, Ghost, Mr. Fantastic, and Red Hulk.
Ooh.
So yes, we're finally going to get to see Green Hulk and Red Hulk fight in this movie.
Oh yes, another predictable outcome.
Yeah, it's time. It's time. So that is Secret Empire, and of course, in the vein of Civil War, eventually they're going to figure out that the leader was behind it all, but not without some big repercussions to the relationships between these characters, and what vibranium means to the world. Obviously, White Widow is fighting for Team America because the Contessa de Fontaine is making her. She wants that vibranium, so there's going to be a little bit of struggle there too. So all kinds of sort of moral questioning is going to happen in Black Panther Secret Empire. But I do want to make sure that T'Challa stays the focus as the main sort of character in the same way that Steve Rogers was the main focus in Civil War. And for our post-credit scene, we see a man on a plane landing in LaGuardia Airport in New York. We've never seen this man before. He's carrying a heavy-duty metal briefcase. He descends to a New York subway platform, but he doesn't board a subway. He hops onto the tracks and he walks down into the depths of a dark subway tunnel. And eventually he comes upon an empty space. And it's tucked away from every place else. It's just this empty little tucked away corner of the subway tunnel. He sets the briefcase down. There's a little keypad on it. He inputs some commands on the keypad, and then he walks away. And we see two things. Number one, we see that the electronic lock on this briefcase has begun counting down to something.
Oh, okay.
And number two, the briefcase has Essex Corporation written on its side.
Ooh.
And that's Black Panther Secret Empire.
Oh, well played, sir. I was one of the things I went back and forth on was a Black Panther movie because there's so many creative ways. Because originally my plan was each project would introduce a member of the X-Men because they're just so embedded within different stories. I mean, Rogue, you can do Captain Marvel. You could do another Captain Marvel movie. Storm is just like you could interweave them between Black Panther stories, or interweave her in a Black Panther story, and like the list goes on. Like you could just do so many things. Yeah, I like what you did with the resource war. I think that's a really smart move. There was one that I was playing with, and that was Doom War, which
Mm.
I was like, oh, Doctor Doom comes to Wakanda, and insert fun story there. But there is a comic where he does that, and he's after the vibranium. And I was like, oh, that's too good. And I'm like, but the reason why I backpedaled on it pretty hard was that the teasers for Doomsday, one of them was the Fantastic Four meeting
Shuri, right?
Shuri
Yeah.
and M'Baku. And I was like, oh, it's just too close to Doom War. So I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. So I was like, yeah, I gotta run with it.
All right.
Okay. All
Well,
right.
I don't have your slate in my doc anymore, so you're gonna have to.
Oh,
And that's not a euphemism, even though it sounds like one.
Yeah, no, I had a little glitch in the matrix there. So
Okay.
just give me a second here. Because I was going back and forth.
You're both I am 6 projects in. Ryan is 5 projects.
Yes.
And so far, Heroes for Hire is your only Disney Plus so far, correct?
Correct. And I'm pretty sure it's the only one.
Okay.
Yeah, some projects are debatable, but yeah,
Mhm.
let's just stick with that. All right.
All right.
Okay.
I think I see it. Here we go. Here's your slate. I'm going to get rid of mine and put yours. There you go. You're up.
All right. So the next one I have on my list, Nova, the human rocket. All right.
The logo, I'm there. The logo's all I need.
Yeah, no, I had to do Nova. I had to. I mean, it's at a point. There's too many setups. There's way too many setups for Nova at this point. And there's key characters that have already been introduced where you can do Nova. And I was doing research, and one thing I learned was that with Nova, apparently his first comic book back in the Silver Age is apparently, if it's done right, the energy and feel is the same as Peter Parker, and that's why people really love Nova. People who actually read the Nova comic, they actually took to him very similar to Peter Parker, like the same kind of impact. But for some reason, he just kind of fell. He didn't get the same momentum as Spider-Man did. So I decided to do Nova because Guardians of the Galaxy, the first movie, we actually see the character who gives him the helmet and his powers, which is Denarian Day, which is the guy who does the the dick message thing, the dick message joke.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that guy. So so we know from the MCU so far, Thanos destroyed Xandar. He just like full on went in there, destroyed it, took the Power Stone and left.
Mhm.
So Xandar, this like policing force, they're just like dismantled completely. So because this was happening, Denarian Day, because of his experience with Star-Lord, he realizes the potential of heroes because the Guardians save Xandar.
Right.
And he admitted that they saved his daughter. So when he sees this battle happening, he realizes that Earth could be the secret to bringing out heroes. So this Nova story, the human rocket. So what happens is that Denarian Day, he somehow survives. Like he takes his family and leaves before Thanos completely rocks the whole thing. And he has their experimental suit and helmet that carries what they call the world mind, and which is like Nova, which is essentially the Nova Prime, and it carries with them the intergalactic laws and gives them the power and everything. So this is going to be Richard Rider's story. He's a struggling high schooler in New York. All right. Denarian Day magically, just like through series of events, just magically finds him. And the theme of the story is he must learn to use the helmet while honoring the legacy he barely understands. So that's the whole thing. He's directionless, working part-time, struggling with school, feeling invisible to his home life, living in the shadow of the cosmic age of heroes. So because he gets access to the helmet, he sees the story of the Guardians of the Galaxy. The dance to save the universe, the battle of Thanos, all that stuff. Like plus he's, as being a person on Earth, he sees like Thanos, invading New York and the whole thing, and he's seeing all this. And imagine, seeing those battles, much like kind of similar to what we saw with Hawkeye, where Kate Bishop, watches Hawkeye fall from the building as he's taking on aliens, is kind of the same idea. Denarian Day arrives. He's mortally wounded, and he gives him the helmet, and believes in Richard Rider because, again, he knows Star-Lord, and Star-Lord's a degenerate when he meets him, and then he sees the potential. So he sees the potential in Nova. And so what ends up happening is the second part of the story is that Secret Invasion story arc kind of continues, and instead of the Skrulls this time, the Kree come back because they saw the potential in Captain Marvel, and now they're looking for their next candidate because they realized what's his name, Jude Law's character, he's seen firsthand that the humans are able to absorb things and become super powerful. So he's invading Earth with troops, and they're kind of invading with a strong arm, and they're looking to kidnap people, enhanced individuals, and then enhance them further, or just even take humans and start enhancing them as an experiment. Right. So you'll hear like on TV, people be like, "Oh, aliens abducted me and try to, probe me and stuff like that." So it kind of have an Independence Day kind of vibe. And then what ends up happening is to push back the Kree, because Denarian Day explains that they had a peace treaty and that it's over now, which wraps up a Guardian story. And then he's like, Nova, you have to police these guys. So thus enter Nova, the human rocket. And at the end, the end credit scene is that Denarian Day explains like, hey, there are survivors. Xandar can be rebuilt. And then he begins, he says, hey, we need to find a kid as well, because the world mind is like an AI and it can find other potential candidates. And it sets up the next young Avenger to be another Nova, which is Sam Alexander. And the second end credit scene is there are you see kind of from like, you see that classic shot of Earth, and you see a Kree sentry being thrown into the planet, which a Kree sentry is known for. Sending in a robot that essentially blows up the planet. But the person that's watching the sentry spiraling into the planet is the Inhumans, watching from the negative world in the moon.
The Inhumans are coming back. Okay.
Inhumans are coming back.
What a great post-credits tease. Wow. All right. Nova, the human rocket. Yeah, I know Nova's been on he's been on your wish list for a long time. You've been itching to see some Nova action. He's somebody I've never really been too familiar with. But I know like Richard Rider, and then like you said, there's the younger one who becomes a young Avenger. So there's a
Sam
Nova
Alexander,
legacy.
yeah.
Sam Alexander, yeah. So Nova, the character, has a legacy, and there's a lot there to work with, and he is a big part of the cosmic Marvel. So I'm all for it, especially if they bring back the sexy Nova lady that Michaela Hoover played in Guardians Part 1. She didn't say anything, but she was in the background, and that was all I was looking at.
And I want to point something out here too, is that what I noticed with the Guardians, and I remember even we talked about it in Infinity Rewatch. The Guardians, they asked Chris Pratt early on with the Guardians of the Galaxy, is like, hey, when are you going to meet the Avengers? And he's like, I kind of wish we don't, because then you get to see more of the cosmic world of Marvel.
Yeah.
And I was like, but in the end, Guardians like went to Earth essentially. Like they kind of just brought it all the way back to the core of the MCU world, which is Earth. And I'm like, well, what an interesting opportunity to take Nova that starts at Earth and goes outward. So that with him, you can go explore, all sorts of things. So, and the Kree plays a pivotal part in sending him back out that way. So that I thought was a fun way to do it.
Very nice. And again, you used the great retro logo, which I'm all about. So yes, please. All right. Nova the Human Rocket. Love it. And that sounds like a movie that wouldn't cost them much, because you don't have a huge cast. And you can tell the story without a bajillion characters in there. So Marvel will like that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this might have been spoiled because of my QuickTime player acting up, but after Secret Empire, it's time. We have to roll right into our Avengers story. Here we go.
Oh man, that's funny.
We are disassembling, everybody. It's Avengers Disassembled. Now that is a story. There is a story in the comics called Avengers Disassembled. I have no idea what it's about, and I don't care. I just used the title, and I'm going my own way here, because here we are. It is revealed that Mr. Sinister has successfully harvested the DNA of several of the MCU's heroes, not just mutants. And he's used it to create a small army of supervillains with similar powers. He has also, remember that briefcase that he got somebody to put in New York City? He's also unleashed genetically altered dinosaurs from the Savage Land into Manhattan. The briefcase that we saw contained their eggs. The movie begins with the timer, or at some point in the movie, the timer goes to 0 and the eggs hatch and they come out. So now the Avengers and the X-Men must team up to stop Sinister's plan. Now, I wanted to see, because we have so many heroes and villains going on here, it's time to get some Star Wars reference into this. So along the same vein as Return of the Jedi, our final battle is going to be a 3-pronged battle happening on 3 different fronts. So we have one team who is dealing with trying to break into the Essex Corporation to get something from them, whatever that may be. Another team is dealing with the dinosaurs and one of the villains on the villain team, who I'll explain about later, that are rampaging Manhattan. While the third team goes to the Savage Land to deal with Sinister and Sauron directly. So that is our setup for Avengers Disassembled. Tiago is saying it's a missed opportunity. It should be titled Jurassic. Maybe the logo can have the T-Rex skeleton on it, just for giggles. But as mentioned, Sinister uses his DNA harvesting to create a team of supervillains with power similar to the people he harvested from. So that means we finally get to see characters like, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, Dakin, the son of Wolverine, as a villain on this team.
It's Dakin.
Dakin, right? Just like bacon. That's how I should remember. Red She-Hulk. How about Ares, the god of war? He's going to be part of this team. Madeline Pryor is going to be part of this team. Malice is going to be part of this team. Dark Beast. Moonstone, with DNA taken from Captain Marvel, so she's going to be a heavy hitter. And then we're going to have also the Eric O'Grady Irredeemable Ant-Man as a giant villain who's rampaging alongside the dinosaurs. That's going to be a big, literally big threat to have to deal with.
Okay.
And we're also in this already overstuffed movie. When we get to the Savage Land, the Avengers are going to meet and ally with Kazar and Zabu.
Of course.
Because
I was counting the minutes on that one.
Come on, why not? So we have this gigantic thing that Sinister is doing. It's all fun and crazy. I wanted this Avengers movie to feel like a 90s movie. So that's where I went with there. I was skewing, like Tiago said, to Jurassic, but also I was really feeling the vibes of Godzilla 98 for this one. So I wanted to put a lot of that in there and have some fun with it.
Man, I haven't watched that movie in a long time.
And we have here 2 post-credit scenes again. One of them is fun. One of them is a little more substantial. So first, our substantial one. Remember those black envelopes? Those magic black envelopes?
Yes.
Yeah, the ones that whisked away Doctor Strange. So in our first post-credit scene, we see a woman in her house in El Paso, Texas. And she's sitting in bed and she's watching the news late at night. And she's watching CNN as it describes this incident that has just happened with dinosaurs in Manhattan. She's watching it and she turns the TV off and she tries to go to sleep. When we hear the sound of an incredibly loud motorcycle roaring past her house, and she sticks her head out the window and she yells, "It's 2 a.m, asshole!" And the motorcycle's obviously gone, but it has left a trail of fiery skid marks.
Of course it does.
Along with the remains of a magical black envelope that flutters in the wind. And for our second post-credit scene, it's a fun one. They do this a lot in the comics, Ryan. They have, I think they call them summer specials, where they'll just have like all the characters just playing beach volleyball for an issue. So I thought our final post-credit scene will be the Avengers and X-Men relaxing on the beach in the Savage Land and just chilling.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. I will tell you right now that this is nothing like the disassembled comic, but it plays to kind of what MCU does, which is like, again, like they'll use a famous cover title that like is like very much a comic book reference, but it's not sometimes it's an iteration of the story, or it's like completely different. So yes, I definitely sense a Jurassic Parky Godzilla like vibe. I really like how you woven together this genetic story overall, especially having Sinister being the main puppeteer behind it all. So very cool.
It suited him, and it got me where I wanted to go with Avengers. And I've said this multiple times, where it's time that an Avengers movie is, it's always been about a team of heroes, so it's time that there should be a team of villains, because we still haven't seen that. So this was the perfect way to get there, and it felt organic with Sinister and all that jazz.
All right,
well, we have it.
All right, are you ready for the next one?
I got you up and running, sir.
All right. Oh man. So I like I said, I'm kind of connecting stories and starting stories is basically what I'm doing. And Uncanny X-Men still plays in the realm of, like, again, I mentioned that one of my breadcrumb rules was that it has to be mentioned, teased, or whatever. Department of Damage Control was that kind of, I feel, especially if you've seen Wonder Man at this point, which, spoiler warning, but I assume the people that watch this would probably have seen it by now. I feel Damage Control is starting to kind of turn into an organization led by Peter Gyrick, who will eventually use Trask to build the Sentinels and go from enhanced people to, being this like rampaging mongrel to, like, what enhanced individuals is. It's a fancy term for mutants, and like go into that kind of angle. So that's where I feel like X-Men's going, and and Gyrick also, fun fact, gets exposed to Sword, so it's kind of a nice tie into Nova there. But I had one more angle that I've done it. I started with Doctor Strange, and this is where I continue it. And if you're gonna there is so much ground to cover and so many cool stories that we've not done yet. And so I felt the next logical one that's going to set up a whole different group is the Night Stalkers. So I thought I would go the Night Stalkers route, and it kind of starts with it kind of plays to the story arc of Ironheart, but it also ties in the end credit scene that needs to be tied into something at this point, which is Blade running into Dan Whitman, and he has the ebony blade. So I wanted to take this famous story, the Night Stalkers. I wanted to modify it a bit. This story would have Blade, Hannibal King, Black Knight, and Ghost Rider, and it would be the Ryan Gosling, Ghost Rider, which I believe his name is Ketch, Daniel Ketch. So I wanted to go that route, and this would also have Nick Cage as Ghost Rider as well, Johnny Blaze, and okay, so this is a supernatural Cold War story is what I'm going for here. And what's happening is because of Ironheart, hell portals are opening up, and Blade is starting to detect that the world is off balance, and that something has been disturbed. So he enlists Dan Whitman because of he knows about the history of the Black Knight, being Blade, and his exposure to the history, and it's kind of like Dan Whitman, in terms of the narrative arc here, he is new to this world of heroes, and he learned about the Eternals, and now he's like, it's kind of like we're moving him into the Middle Ages slash like he's learning that there's more layers to the world's history is what I'm going for. So and Blade is the history teacher. That's the kind of feel and vibe. So Blade said, like, they fight some hell demons together in the room that he was just talking about, like, just not in the room, sorry, just outside the room. He's like, hey, there's demons here, you need to help me fight them, and the whole thing. So they do that, and then so he's like, we need the blade because this is an ancient artifact, forged in blood. We need this to stop some some people that are coming from these demon portals. I need your help with it. And there's one more person we need to get, and he goes to a carnival where he fights some more hell demons and stuff, and that's where they find Ghost Rider. So they find Ghost Rider, but they don't find the right one. They find Johnny Blaze, and Johnny Blaze is like, I'm not Ghost Rider no more. And he's like,
oh, you got to do that in Cage's voice, sir. You can't leave me hanging like that.
I can't do it. I can't do it. So but yeah, he's like, I can't do it no more. And he's like, but I'll show you how to find Ghost Rider. And then they're assembling this army to fight him. And the last battle, after they get all the people they need to get, they go and they find this kind of weird green fire portal, and it's they think it's just a standard demon that's going to come out of it, and it's Lilith, and Lilith has come into Earth. So and she's like, Mephisto promised me this, and that starts to kick off the Night Stalker slash the sequel, which would be Rise of the Midnight Suns.
Okay, and that's I'm assuming that's your final slot there. That's what you've got.
No, I'm not revealing what the final.
Okay.
I'm giving a teaser that will be in my phase 8.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's like, unlike Kevin Feige, I might allude to it. If I were Kevin Feige, I'd be like, guess what? Just so you know, yes, the Midnight Suns are coming. They just won't be in this phase.
Right.
So, yeah.
Totally fair. Wow, great choice. The Night Stalkers is such a deep cut. And you're making good on the Blade promise. You're making good on the Black Knight promise. You've got
I wanted, like, I also picture like a reason to find Cersei in there, and like even Werewolf by Night kind of thing. And sorry to interrupt, but like, because like the other thing is too, I really wanted to bring relevance to Blade, but I thought it was like there's like this image I see of like him. It's kind of like a buddy cop adventure going into a whole new world is what I'm trying to do. And that whole history teacher kind of approach. So yeah, so it's kind of like you take the first ever Blade movie where once he finds Karen, he explains to her that like vampires have been there the whole time. It's kind of the same feel, but this time it's the Black Knight and they're going to fight all these battles together.
Mm-hmm. And I already like your concept of using Blade better than the actual Blade movie.
Yeah,
because I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the hugest fan of the Blade movie. I never even saw
What?
Blade. Yeah, I never saw Blade 2 and Blade Trinity.
Oh,
I will.
no.
I will watch them. But
you have to at least watch Blade 2 because that was done by Guillermo del Toro.
Yes, absolutely. I want
that
to.
deserves a watch.
Like I actively want to watch it, and I will. But I always like the idea of, and it was such an idea of that time too, so it feels dated to me. And like The Matrix did it too, where it's just like guys in sunglasses and trench coats, and there's techno music, and I'm just like, this is so friggin' dorky.
It's so good. That bloodbath, that first opening action sequence is amazing. It's like the best thing ever.
But I like your Blade much better, and I am all for this Night Stalkers movie. And what a great way to lube up the audience and ease them into Midnight Suns. Yeah. Well, we come at last to the end of my phase 7. And hey, what do you know, Ryan? It's time to hang out with our friends, the Midnight Suns.
Of course. Oh man, we had some overlap. We had quite a bit of overlap.
Harmon's in the chat. Hi, Harmon. Yeah, amen to that Blade scene. He likes that Blade scene too. Very nice.
So good.
Yeah, we got ourselves some overlap now. This is awesome. And the Midnight Suns, I wanted to, in the same way that the first couple phases don't end, or rather, phase 2 and 3 don't end with an Avengers movie. There's always sort of an epilogue to that. And I wanted to go the same route. And more importantly, I wanted to do what phases 4, 5, and 6 have so far failed to do, or at least 4 and 5, which is I wanted to make the idea of a phase important again, because 4 and 5 really lost sight of that. So we built up to Avengers, but we also threaded throughout. We're building up to this story. And it's very simple. I don't even have a lot to say about it. It's exactly what you expect. All those characters. So Doctor Strange, Clea, Blade, Werewolf by Night. We'll throw Man-Thing and Elsa in there, and Ghost Rider. They've been gathered by the Hood, who summoned them to help defeat Mephisto and save Riri Williams. And Mephisto's not only got a stranglehold on her, but he's using his control of key beings like her. So she's not the only one who made a deal with him. To try to take over the mortal world. So essentially, Mephisto's got his hands in a lot of people's pockets, and the more he does, the more he can overtake the mortal world. So all of those characters have to band together and defeat Mephisto and his otherworldly army before it's too late. And of course, we'll have cameos from Ironheart and the Hood. They'll show up. We'll see Wong for a little bit, but we've got our core team, and the fun is going to be in seeing them come together and overtake all of these supernatural threats. And for our post-credit scene, there's only one, but it's a big one that'll kind of set the stage for phase 8. The final battle is going to take place in an ancient temple somewhere in the world. And of course, the temple gets pretty wrecked during their final battle with Mephisto. Mephisto will live on. They won't kill him. He'll be back to cause more
naturally.
Trouble. Yeah, I don't want to kill him off. Yeah. But after the aftermath of the battle, the temple's kind of in rough shape. It stands to reason. And in our post-credit scene, we're moving the camera through the ruins of this old temple, and we see some ancient carvings on a pillar that fell down during the battle. And one of those carvings, Ryan, looks an awful lot like a big Egyptian man with tubes coming out of his back. And there we go. That's how we end my phase 7 with the Midnight Suns.
Oh man, well played, sir. Well played. It's a great way to kick or like kind of end a phase to begin a phase. Clearly, you're talking about apocalypse.
Mhm.
And yes, I would love to see an MCU apocalypse. It's funny when we got into like when we solidified the success of the MCU, which in my opinion obviously is like phase one. Once it got even to the like just before it got to the Avengers, it's like Marvel did it. We're well into the way. Um, you know, my brother and I would say like, imagine if the MCU did a Fantastic Four film, which I'm at that stage. We're at that stage. We clearly lived it. It happened. Totally worth the wait. Can't wait to see what the MCU does with X-Men, obviously, because it's like imagine what an X-Men movie would be like with a Marvel Studios budget. Midnight Suns, absolutely. I think where Marvel really needs to thrive right now is they need to start just doing really out there stories. Like Werewolf by Night was amazing, and it's like
Mhm.
imagine if you did an Avengers like movie, but like the Midnight Suns, like that would be so cool. Would love to see Ghost Rider, absolutely. So yeah, no, great call out. It's absolutely awesome. Man, yeah, great research. Well done, well done.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
Um,
this would definitely be my dream. See a lineup like this. I think this is where my heart and soul would lie with the Phase 7.
mhm.
And after we finish your phase, we can talk a bit about what didn't make the cut for us, I guess, and what what we had to grapple with, because I'm sure there was a lot there.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
but yeah, I'm ready to bring up your slate here. So let me get rid of mine. Bye, Slate, and hi, Slate. Okay, you're up.
All right. So I'm actually quite surprised because we actually had quite a bit of overlap. So we both had the X-Men.
Mhm.
Technically, I'd say Night Stalkers counts.
Yeah, it's
And
pretty
then
close.
Doctor Strange, another one. So my last one is a Fantastic Four movie. Had to do it.
Mhm.
And this one actually takes place with the Sentry that landed on the planet. So he, the other reason why I did this, and especially with Nova having the Kree now invading the planet, kind of playing to the invasion story arc a bit. I wanted the Kree Century to hit the planet because there's a famous Fantastic Four story that takes place with them dealing with the Sentry bot. And that's the beginning of this one, is that the Fantastic Four are now learning about, all these different aliens that are coming to this particular Earth. And the big one here for me is that like Fantastic Four are learning like why are the Kree coming and what are they doing, right? And they're
Mhm.
clearly experimenting. And as this battle happens, and they battle the Sentry, and the Sentry bomb is about to the Sentry bomb is revealed, and that it could destroy the planet. And Reed's trying to dismantle it. He doesn't quite know how to do it. And then a mysterious figure comes out of nowhere, and it's actually Karnak from the Inhumans, and he points out the exact weakness
He's one of my
of
favorite Inhumans.
points out the weakness of the bomb, and they disarm it. He's like, then they learn about the Inhuman culture, and they go to the realm that the Inhumans are trapped in on the moon. So then it becomes Fantastic Four versus the Inhumans, and Johnny Storm falls in love with Crystal, and there's the whole. Okay, there's a little bit more to it than that. Like that's kind of I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. It's kind of like the end is they go see the Inhumans, but the first act is the first act all the way to the middle of the movie is the Sentry. Then Karnak shows them this, and then they test the Fantastic Four by them creating the Fearsome Four with Medusa, Wizard, and Wizard. I can't remember who the other two are. I think Gorgon and
Um,
I
is
can
it
never
is
remember.
the glue guy there? Trapster? Is he part of that, or
I
is that the
think
Frightful
so.
Four?
A Frightful Four. That's what I was going for. Yeah. No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
Wizard, Medusa, the Gorgon, the guy with the goat legs,
Mhm.
and one other one. Anyway, so they do that. They have a quick battle, prove their worth. Then they go to the planet, and then they learn about the Inhumans, and they meet Black Bolt, and they learn that they had a dream that Black Bolt came to Earth, and he's not sure about Earth, and it plays to the Inhuman story that that happened originally with Marvel that they totally walked away from, to kind of fix
So
fix
good.
it, bring it back, and then my end credit scene is the Skrull talk to Fury one last time, and they say, we told you we've been here a long time, and that's true. But what we didn't tell you is why we left. And they're like, oh, I thought you guys were looking for a new home because your old one, whatever. They never really confirmed what happened to them, like
Right.
what really happened to them. And he's like, yeah, no, our planet was eaten. And then you learn that the Galactus, the portal that he went through, it actually sent him back in time in the MCU world, and he eats the Skrull planet, and thus that's why that's why there was a secret invasion.
I am so impressed with how much you have managed to take a bunch of pre-existing loose ends and
There's so many.
Not only have you tied them up, but you have you've taken projects like She-Hulk and Secret Invasion and made them better just by association of these things existing, which is no small feat. So kudos to you, my friend. That is wonderful. That is great stuff.
Thank you. That's why it bothered me, man. I was like, there's so many ways to go, and I'm like, but there's so, like, as I've been watching it, I'm like, if you, like, again, I don't know, like, who's on the creative team right now, or like, like the Russos and all that stuff. I'm like, there's so much you can still do. There's so much. And it was amazing to see all the little breadcrumbs that they've left. And I'm like, oh man, you could do this, you can go this way. And it was, and like I said, I tampered with this thing like 3 or 4 times because there's so many angles I could have done.
Yeah, like on that note, like in terms of what could have been and what might have been, it was a struggle. Like I really had to ask myself, like my thesis statement for this was just, what do I want, right? What at the end of the day, what does Andrew want? And I mean, Shang-Chi absolutely deserves a trilogy, so I needed to get another Shang-Chi in there. Fantastic Four and Black Panther deserve trilogies, so I need more of those. Doctor Strange deserves 4 trilogies as far as I'm concerned, so I absolutely needed one of those. And then like seeing just mixing and matching characters and introducing things, like you said, I introduced a lot of people that don't quite fit, like having Captain Britain show up in Shang-Chi, but that's what I like about Marvel. I like that, in the X-Men cartoon, we got to see Gladiator fight Juggernaut, even if it was just for a second, and then Juggernaut got his ass kicked. Like that, the taking just disparate pockets of the universe and smushing them together and seeing what happens is part of why I love the Marvel universe so much, and the DC universe too. So that, to me, was kind of part of the mission statement, was where can I put people, whether or not it's a makes sense to their lore. And there, Tiago's correcting me on my grammar, that it's an inquiry question, sir, not a thesis statement. You're right. That's true. That is an inquiry thing.
Yeah.
That's why you're making the big teacher bucks, and I'm doing podcasts about Marvel. But the big struggle for me was, I actually initially I didn't have Spider-Man. That was the last one I came up with, because at first I was just like, when it comes to what do I want as Spider-Man, the only thing that I knew offhand was like, I just want Kingpin. That's it. That's all I want. And I didn't have a story to back that up. So I was like, I'm not going to be selfish and just, make a stupid thing and just say, as long as it has Kingpin, whatever. Like, I wanted a good story to go with Kingpin. So at first I didn't have that. And I was trying really hard to fill this slot with a Captain Marvel 3, because I think she deserves another swing at the bat and another movie to kind of rocket her into greatness. But as much as I tried, and I toyed with some rogue things, and I toyed with some Supreme Intelligence and all that, I was just like, I don't love that corner of the Marvel world. I don't love the Kree. I don't love the Supreme Intelligence. It doesn't excite me. So as much as I want to give Captain Marvel a movie, I don't want to spend time in her world. So I saved her for Avengers, where I thought she could be the most fun. And then the Die Hard inspiration hit, and I was like, boom, there we are. That's what I needed. So that was the biggest struggle for me. I don't know. What was the struggle that kept your phase 7 juggling up in the air?
For me, the big one was trying to figure out how to introduce the X-Men was just a constant challenge. I just because I wanted to just put them all out there right out of the gate, and I was like, no, that's not going to work. And the other angles I wanted to cover, I also felt that we needed Captain Britain because we need him to be the multiversal Captain America, if you will. And I think there's a nice kind of angle with Captain Carter there that you could also play with and do all sorts of stuff there. And like I said, I wanted each project to introduce an X-Men character, and with Captain Britain, you can introduce Psylocke because that's his sister. So I was like, you could do Braddock, you could do the Braddock family, you could do all sorts of cool stuff there. Other challenges I faced, I did do an Avengers Disassembled. That was going to be my first entry in the timeline.
Wild man.
I did Avengers Disassembled, and I said to myself, we're at a stage, and you and I have talked about this, is like after Endgame, the longer you take to do an Avengers movie, the better, because it's just that Infinity Saga is so solidified that if you do anything afterwards that's an Avengers movie, it has to top that, and that's hard to do. And I applaud the Russos for tackling Doomsday and doing Secret Wars. It's natural that they're going to do that. But I still think there could have been a lot more time to get there, and you could have overlapped a lot more stories. So there was that. The other challenge I faced was Black Panther, because I feel like there's still a lot of story there. But like I said, with Doomsday and them being in Avengers already, I was like, I don't want to mess with that right now. It's just like, there's too much there. Like there's the Namor arc. I'm like, there's so many, like even the Doom War, that Black Panther Doom War, Namor's in it as well. So I was like, it's perfect setup. And even when they did Wakanda Forever, there is kind of a Doom War feel to that story arc already. So I was like, okay, they can't do that either. And at Fantastic Four, I wanted them to meet Namor. I was like, oh, then you could do Namorita, and you could do Namor falling in love with Sue, and like the whole thing. So there's some struggle there. The last thing I wanted to wrap up on was Iron Man and do Armored Wars and have Rhodey do like kind of the Armored War thing. But yeah, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't I couldn't connect it to anything. It was just very isolated to that event. And I was like, I can't do that either. So there was a lot of ideas, and like the struggle I had with this was like I felt out of the two of us, you did a better job of weaving, like kind of doing what Infinity Saga did, which was weaving a massive arc, whereas mine is like I am picking up pieces and trying to build an arc, and by like maybe phase 8 I'd have that arc built out. But like for me it was like tying up loose ends to build a new journey from there.
Yes, you were so much braver than I was, because you were like turning back and taking things like Secret Invasion by the hand and saying, come with me, you're not done yet. And that's a tall order. Tiago says, this was an absolute pleasure. Not only are you knowledgeable, but you both are really creative in execution. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
This was very, very fun. I think, how about we close things off with a very quick game? We're going to challenge each other with a quick game. Okay. I'm going to shout out a character name at you, and your job is you have to find a place in your phase 7 to give that character a cameo, and how that would work. And then you do the same for me.
Okay. So do I need my timeline up so you can like see it?
Sure. Okay, let me get
Okay,
rid of
I just
me
need a second.
here. Ooh, I'm buying tickets to all of your things, by the way, except Heroes for
Likewise.
Hire, because I don't need to buy a ticket because that's streaming into my home.
I felt like I had to do one Disney Plus, and like one thing I like with what they're doing with the Disney Plus projects, especially right now, is like Daredevil. Daredevil is like literally Daredevil is the saga of the Disney Plus stuff right now.
Yeah.
Like that's the saga. It's so well established. It's so boots to the ground. I love it.
By the way, is that
Um,
tonight or tomorrow night? When does that come out?
Oh, good question. I think that's tomorrow night.
I feel like you're right because I feel like last week I came home from work and it was on. So I think you're right. Okay, you're right. I got a character for you, and you're gonna love it.
All right. Hit me.
Okay, I don't have your thing in
Oh,
the
sorry.
doc there.
One
No
second.
problem.
This time I'm not going to do any fancy slideshow here. I'm just going to show the PowerPoint screen. There we go.
All right, here we go. So your job, Ryan. I'm going to throw this character at you. You're going to tell me where you're going to cameo him and how it's going to work.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Beta Ray Bill, go.
Fantastic Four.
Wow. Okay, tell me how.
I feel like they would. Okay, so after the battle with the Sentry,
Mhm.
okay, and like they learn about Karnak and whatever, they go to do research on, like, let's just say the Fantastic Four ship, and they're trying to find where the Sentry came from. And they're like, well, okay, they come from this Kree world. There might be some satellites or something we can like look into, or some insert fancy science explanation here.
Yeah.
And you just see like Beta Ray Bill flying through the sky, or you see his ship, the scuttlebutt, as it flies by the screen, like that kind of thing. So like as the camera pans to the world of Halos, you see like the scuttlebutt ship in the background flying around the planet or something like that. And that's how I do Beta Ray Bill.
I love it. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm,
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to put mine, and now you throw one at me.
Okay. Okay, I really got to think about this. Okay, Hercules.
Oh boy. Okay. So I'm going to put Hercules into I'm going to put him in Midnight Suns as a little cameo, because they're going into the supernatural world. So we're going to see ourselves a little bit of the gods, not a whole lot, but he's going to show up in there, and just for a little bit to kind of remind the audience that the supernatural world is as big as it is, especially because they're dealing with Mephisto, who's the opposite of a god. But in true Hercules fashion, because he's kind of high on himself, he is not going to offer any help. He's going to be like, your mortal world is of no concern to me. And yeah, that'll be that. Oh, and Tiago's got a challenge here too. He's saying Squirrel Girl.
Oh man,
what a great character. I'm gonna put her in Shang-Chi in the Valley of the Dragon.
Honestly, dude, the wildest combination of characters every time.
He's globetrotting, so he's gonna meet. I have no idea where she lives or what her deal is, besides that she can control all the squirrels and everything. But I feel like he's gonna meet some folks on his journey. With Shang-Chi, I specifically modeled it as a James Bond movie, and he's always meeting people in his adventures. So it's a perfect way to like, here, let's go to this place, have this set piece with these characters, etc. All right. Tiago's throwing one at you before we log off here, Ryan. Darkhawk. Let me put you. That's a great one, Tiago. Let me put you back up on the board here.
Oh man, I would do Nova and Darkhawk, because like just that vibe. We collected those 1993 cards, and like I could just, that style, that tone. I just feel like Darkhawk could have a cameo. Denarian Day could say like the story arc could be, Earth seems to be the center point, which plays to Thor, in the first Avengers movie, where he says, Earth is signaling to Asgard that they're ready for a higher form of war. And so I would do that script, but like I would do that with Denarian Day being, Earth seems a point of interest to all types of species. And even though Darkhawk is kind of just more of a space android, or if you want to think about it that way, but yes, you see flashes of different characters, one being Darkhawk.
Right. And he's such a 90s gem too. So like
He's
that would make me so
90s.
happy.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, there it is, guys. It's our phase 7, both of our Dream Phase 7s. You got 2 phases for the price of 1. You're welcome, everybody. Ryan, thank you so much. Your phase 7 is glorious. I love it.
Thank you.
I think I'm excited for all of yours, but I'm most excited for Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom. Triumph and Torment. That makes me very happy. And thank you to everybody watching in the chat. We got Tiago, we got Darth Tedious, we got Harmon. And we thank you for watching and for playing along. And now I want to hear from you guys. I think Tiago, at one point in the chat, you said you said you inspired me. Here's my idea, or here's my list. Now, where's your list? So send that our way. You can put in the comments. You can also text it to us because you know us both. So I want to see your list. I want to see everybody's list. What other people, what their Dream Phase 7 might be. Maybe it looks exactly like Ryan's. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just 12 Avengers movies in a row. I'm not going to stop you. But yeah, let us know what you've got on the brain, what you want to see after Secret Wars. Ryan, anything you want to say before we log off for the night?
Oh man, honestly, there's so many ways. I think what's fun about this exercise, and I do recommend you guys do it, is again, it made me appreciate what Kevin Feige has done even more, because it's so easy to go down so many rabbit holes. Like I didn't even get to talking about, I even thought about doing a War of the Kings story and have the different gods battle out, like that kind of thing. And I couldn't figure out how I was going to build that narrative. I really couldn't. Like, it's so hard to put it all together. For me, I think I think we talked about each strength, but like, yeah, it's just fun to see what you want, and then how can you tie it to what is existing. So yeah, I look forward to seeing your comments in the chat, in the comments, in this YouTube set page as well.
I can't wait. And if Kevin Feige is watching, and let's face it, he is. Clearly, if you've learned anything from tonight, Kevin, it's that we want more Doctor Strange in our lives. So, whatever you got to do to get that ball rolling. And I'm sorry I don't have a hat on. Well, gang, thank you so much for tuning into this special live event of Infinity Rewatch. We'll be back in a month. Who knows what we'll be talking about, but we will be talking about something. And until then, please, everybody, have a marvelous day.